lille session.
Ja, jeg havde faktisk lidt glemt,
at det var hårdt.
Today, me and my friend Freja were setting some new boulders for Oure after school. The gym at Oure is pretty small compared to commercial gyms, but they have one of the biggest gyms compared to other schools like this. And it's pretty cool to see that they can have a gym like this with both sport climbs and boulders, while still having room for different angled walls. The school is a little ways out, but we got a lift from the teacher. And as a cherry on top, it snowed this morning, which is always nice. Before getting started, we have to remove a few boulders from the wall. We were lucky enough that most of the boulders were removed the day before we came. After this, we create a rough plan for the day. The school wants boulders in the range from green to black, which is from French 4 to somewhere in the 7s. They want a few more in the middle, i.e. the blues and the purples, and they want one of each red and black. Our plan for the day is to set most of the boulders in one go, then we warm up and test everything. After this, we'll make the necessary changes to the boulders and then fill out any open spots on the wall with what we have time for. The first boulder I tackled was the black one. This is supposed to be the hardest boulder we're setting today, so I want to make sure that I have enough energy to do so. I also want to set with these semi-big purple holes, and it's always a good idea to start with setting the big holes. For this boulder, I wanted to start all the way down low in an undercling, and then go to a shoulder-heavy move, and then from there, wrap around the wall and mantle up. I start with setting the shoulder move, as the placement of these holes are the most important for the rest of the boulder. I quickly realized that my idea of dynamically going to the shoulder move is very hard. So I instead find a not too good side pull, so that you can lean out to it instead. From there I set the undercling, which I later on decided should be one of 2 starting holes, as the double undercling was extremely hard. Setting another starting hold makes it easier, but still leaves the option for people to try a low start. At the end of the boulder, I went with a more dynamic move, and I won't test the top until later, but I assume that the mantle is possible. The second boulder is supposed to be a little bit of a technical blue boulder on the slab. I want relatively small feet so that the students have something to train foot technique on. On these kinds of boulders, I spend a lot of time thinking about reach, as I have a very long reach, and I want every one of the students to be able to at least reach all of the holes. But I also don't just want the tall guys to stretch their arms and reach the top. I want them to have to do some of the footwork. Moving on to the third boulder, I once again set with the purple holes. I do it here because there was a purple foot on the wall that we couldn't get out because the screw was stripped, so I might as well just use it in a boulder. The idea for this one was to have some easy moves up to the slapped part, and then it's just going to be a matter of making enough room for your feet, stand up, and such a mark we are going to put on the wall. A really sketchy boulder, but good for practicing mantles and being up high. For the fourth boulder, I finally set with some other holes. I wanted to build a sloped traverse with these flat holes. I start with setting all the slopers on the edge, and after this I set the necessary feet for the slopers to work and not be too hard. I really like how this turned out. It looks really fun, and I'm excited to try it later when we test the boulders. The fifth boulder is an easy slab, and for this one I wanted to try something a little different. I wanted to try and set a boulder that was completely symmetrical. My idea was that this would help some of the newer climbers practice technique on both sides. And I have to say, I think it looks pretty nice. When testing the boulders, we try and give them as few goes as possible, and then talk about what changes are necessary to make the boulders work as intended. We start with the easiest boulders, using them as part of our warm-up. For the symmetrical boulder on the slab, I first tried it in the intended way. It seemed very nice. We even found out that it might be a little easier and a little more fun to just go up in the middle in a bit more of a dynamic way. We agreed that this one did not need any tweaking. The technical blue slab also climbed very nicely. You see me try and reach for one of the holes with my elbow. This is a rule of thumb for not making the climbs too reachy. You can't always depend on it, as other factors than pure length can have influence on how reachable a hold is, but it is a good indicator. The next one is the sketchy one on the purple holds. As you can see, it is quite the struggle to get up, but nevertheless pretty fun. The only real problem with this one is that it's super scary to get down from or bail out on. They don't really do down climb jogs here, so our solution will be to set a very easy joggy boulder right next to it. Moving on to some of the harder boulders, the slope traverse worked much better than I thought it would. I was fully expecting to have to spend a lot of time tweaking the feet, but they worked just fine. So once again, we agreed that this one did not need any tweaking. The last boulder we're testing is the harder one on the purple holds. The first half of the boulder worked very much like intended, and was about as hard as I wanted it to be. But the wrap around the wall was a little too easy. To fix this, we agreed that I should turn one of the holds slightly, making the dynamic move much harder and giving more incentive to do a toe hook instead. I start by turning the hold a little, and I can immediately feel that the dynamic move is much harder. The toe hook beta is also a little harder, but it feels easier. We then noticed that you can quite easily skip the middle hold and just span it. A little annoying, but it's an easy fix. I move the hold a little further away, which makes it so that I can't reach it, and the dyno gets impossible for me. But the toe hook is still possible. Last up is testing the mantle. It feels a lot harder now that the foot has been turned, so I decided to change the first chip to a blocked off crimp. It's still a struggle to get up, but it's much more doable. And in the end, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Now that we're done with testing and tweaking the main set of boulders, I set out to fill in some of the empty spots on the walls. First up, we have this spot, which is technically the beginning of a sports route. However, we accidentally took down the first section of it at the start of the day. This one didn't take long, as I only had to set up around 5 holds to make it work. Here I just tested it while I put it up, as it was only about 3 easy moves. Next up is the down climb for the sketchy blue-purple boulder. This one was also really quick. There's nothing complicated about this boulder, it is just there to be a way to get down. For the last boulder of the day, I wanted to try and make an easy step up where you can catch the top. I start by setting up a large jog down low. I only set this type of hold here now, as I know that it won't be in the way of any other boulders over it. Testing the move, it feels fine. Not exactly how I wanted it, but I think it's okay for the grade. Finishing up, we have to make sure that all of the holes have enough screws and that we have marked where the boulders start and end. While doing this, some of the students showed up. We watched them go through the different boulders while we put in screws. It's always pretty fun to watch how other climbers approach the boulders you build. You learn a lot about how people look for lines and beta. In the end, we built around 14 new boulders. I'm pretty happy with how they all turned out, and I'm excited to hear from all the teachers and the other students what they think about the new set. This is the first time I've tried to do a longer video with a voiceover. I hope you liked it, and if you want to see more, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.